Hey, I'm sure by now that y'all saw the aftermath, if you want to call it that, of the Amber Guyger trial, or however you pronounce her name. And supposedly she got a 10-year sentence. What you know, she's not gonna do the whole 9 yards. Um, what is it? After you do a third, you're eligible for parole or what have you. I don't know. I don't know all the logistical details of her particular sentence. I guess it's yet to come out, but I'm guessing by now you saw Botham's brother's heartfelt testimony. And I saw a lot of people, our people, black people, praising the guy, saying that things like, well, that's God's goodness and mercy in action, things along those lines. And I'm like, seriously? And then I even saw a few of the Jesus Christ comments, and this guy, uh, Botham's brother, went so far as to say that he wants her to get a relationship with Christ or something like that. You know, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and I'm like, seriously? Well, dude, what about your brother? What about the deceased people? I mean, God's grace and mercy should have been with his brother. Jesus Christ should have been with his brother, there to protect his brother. None of this stuff should have even went down if you truly trust in the goodness and mercy of God. None of this should have ever even went down. And here's something really peculiar and contradictory. I mean, you got all these people getting upset even before the process is done, saying things like, "Oh, she's going to get off easy," that kind of crap. It's like, okay, the whole white privilege thing, and they're gonna let her off, and more injustice, blah blah blah. And sure enough, a lot of people, black people, are upset. She only got 10 years, and this brother, both of them, he's gonna be gone forever. So afterwards, his brother gets on the stand and start preaching whatever his spew on forgiveness and how he don't want the offender to be punished or even go to jail. And these same people talking about, oh, she didn't get due justice, or his brother didn't get due justice, or praising this guy for his performance. And I call it a performance because I don't buy into it. I looked at the guy and I'm looking in his eyes, and I could tell he didn't even believe the crap he was preaching. So let's do something a little bit hypothetical. His so-called wishes. Do y'all really think he wished that chick don't go to jail? Do y'all really believe that? Well, let's just do some hypothetical scenario. What if she would have got no jail time, maybe probation or something of that nature? You'd all be teed off. You wouldn't be talking about, oh, Jesus Christ interjected his presence or whatever, or the grace of God. You wouldn't be talking any of that had this guy's wishes really came true. You know you wouldn't. It's called being divided, and it's called confusion. It's called being brainwashed. It's called not knowing whether you're coming or going, whatever you want to call it. What that guy did by saying that he don't want, even wish this chick to go to jail, he installed some nonsense into our collective consciousness that if that seed gets planted, it could possibly set us back another 400 years. You either move forward or you don't move at all. And if you don't move at all, you go backwards. You got to keep going forward. It's called being wishy washy. And again, that's the residual effect of the old plantation slavery, Christian brainwashing effects. This guy looked dazed and confused as he did that speech. He really did. I doubt he really knew what he was saying. And then asking the judge to go hug her. I mean, why? I mean, for what? You want to fill her up? What do you want to do, man? The judge even hugged her. Then you got some big, burly, black female cop stroking this chick's hair. I mean, what, man? Just let her go. I mean, if y'all gonna do all that, just let her go. We got to understand how to keep going forward. This whole Jesus Christ thing, we got to realize Jesus should have been there for his brother, point blank, in the story. His brother was a Christian, right? Heavily involved in a church. He's in his house or apartment. A cop who's supposed to have situational awareness, who was willfully not paying attention because I guess there's, you know, talk about her texting another officer or whatever, sexting or whatever, something like that. So she was willfully not paying attention. I mean, I don't believe the whole story about not knowing where she was anyway, because police officers are supposed to have situational awareness. That's just the way it goes. You cannot be caught slipping to that level. A cop should not be caught slipping to that level. And then when the prosecutor or the defense wanted to allow for some kind of, I don't know, whatever the law, I forget what it's called, but whatever it is, like as if you really are in your own home, he wanted to present the defense and allow the jury to see from the angle of she was really in her own home, which would make him a home invader, which would make him a criminal. But he wasn't. And even a 911 call, she had no cognizance of the severity of the situation. Everything was about self interest, from what I remember from that 911 call. Everything was about self interest. Her concern was that, oh, I'm going to lose my job. And I honestly believe she thought that would be the only repercussion for killing somebody in their own home. But that being said, y'all got to wake up. That guy's performance in that courtroom on behalf of Jesus Christ, it wasn't on behalf of his brother. Jesus Christ failed his brother. That performance, it was just the product of a pathetic, brainwashed soul. I mean, the Archangel Michael is always on duty, doing his thing. And guess what? God turned him loose. And I'm sorry, man. I just don't agree with that. Again, I could look in the guy's eye and tell he didn't believe what he was saying. He was saying it from a mechanical state of mind. Again, hypnosis, brainwashing, this whole Christianity thing. We got to put this situation under wraps. You got a blonde, blue haired white guy responsible for redeeming your soul. He does nothing to protect your family. Yet when one of his own does something, you immediately jump to this whole forgiveness. You didn't mean to do it. You didn't do anything wrong. Seriously? Unreal. I was very disappointed. And again, all of y'all who talked about that whole, and I wouldn't call it an Academy Award winning performance because it was not. It was pretty you know, Mickey Mouse. Had everything he said truly come true, you guys would be throwing a fit. And you know you would. So it's time to stop being wishy washy. Either you want justice, you want to move forward, or you don't. Stop pretending like you want to move forward. And then when somebody gets on a high horse, a Christian high horse, a Jesus Christ bandwagon, then you stumble back. It's one or the other. Either we move forward as the Hebrew people did when they marched toward the promised land. And a lot of y'all, I mean, I tell you this, I can see where a lot of black people are making a mass exodus from organized Christianity anyway. And that's a good thing. And these are the people that's going to move forward. There are a lot of people that are going to be stubborn, like the elder generation who got left behind, including Moses, in the wilderness. That's what's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to have to, the ones who truly want to progress, the ones who truly want justice and equality, because Christianity is going to impede our progression toward justice and equality. The ones who really want it are just going to have to keep moving forward. And I believe as God allowed Joshua and Caleb and the second generation to enter into the promised land, those people will move forward and receive justice. Whereas the rest of the brainwashed slaves, whose Massa is Jesus Christ, I said Massa, not Messiah, because that person who Constantine led y'all to believe is y'all's Messiah, who is pretty much made in his image, that's not your Messiah. So it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and move forward as a whole, or stop crying about being discriminated against. Stop crying about white privilege. Stop crying about whatever you think injustice we're receiving as a whole. Stop crying, whining, and start trusting Jesus. If that's your MO, because if you, it's one or the other. You're crying and whining for justice, right? So when you're crying and whining for justice, you're forgetting about Jesus. And that might be one of the reasons why he's slow to come or don't come at all. I'm serious. It's one or the other. Jesus Christ ain't going to give you the kind of justice you cry and whine for. He's not. He wasn't designed to do that. Remember the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 51? I didn't come to bring peace on earth. Basically, you know what that means? That means Jesus did not come to give you justice. He didn't. He said it himself. So, those of you that are trusting him in processes like this sort of human affairs, you might want to pull in the reins a little bit and understand what you think you believe, understand who or what entity you think is on your side. Obviously, Jesus is on their side because she got a 10-year sentence, which a lot of y'all complained about, not enough time. And then the judge, the police, the deceased's brother all rushed to the girl to give her hugs and love. And I don't know, slave mentalities. I mean, I was feeling some kind of way when I heard this dude's speech. So I felt I had to say something about it. Somebody's got to be the voice of reason. Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds a little harsh. It is harsh. But somebody needs to smack us all awake. And I pray to the real God in heaven that he wakes us up. Anyway, y'all be cool.